Yeah, just one second. And into this camera also one
थोड़ा सा
second.
पीछे आधा आपका
Yes, please. Yes, please.
सर सेंटर सर सेंटर
उस पे मार इसकी तो तेरे फ्रेम में देख फोटो ये करो एक्स्ट्रा फुटेज एडिटर खुद करे क्या कर रहा है भाई तो लाइट बढ़ा रखा है
Explore the city.
He went up to Kent's Corner. Beyond that, Are you finished, master?
अरे एकदम
विलेज आ रहा है कंटिन्यू
Anyway, I just told the parents to see the frame. Yours are better. Mine are. Yours are better. They're very elegant.
Good evening, everybody. We now begin the proceedings for the evening. On behalf of Penguin Random House India,
On one of the pages he has written, less is more. So we will try to start the function as fast as possible. It's truly a privilege to be here. And I used to live in a small town in Garhwal where I used to watch Barrister Vinod in those days. That were my school days. My mother always used to wait and never used to serve dinner. Nothing happened. But truly it's a pleasure, sir. And while we're talking about the non-conformist, we have also the pleasure of having Mr. Dharkar here. And I was reading about him. It's from a mechanical engineer to a tennis player and to a publisher to a writer and God knows what and what. And I think that's what he also lives up to it. Without much of ado, I welcome you all and thank you very much for your patience and to wait. And as I said earlier, good things always come a bit late and we're starting something very good. We are also launching this book in Delhi on 25th of September and would look forward to your blessings and if you can forward it to your friends and bring everyone out there in Delhi on 25th September at India Habitat Center. At City Book Leaders, we follow the trend of speaking about books, where leaders come and talk about books. And also, while you buy the book and you get it signed, you get this pencil, plantable pencil free. I was just telling it to Deepti ji that how the tomato and coriander grows out of it. And good things definitely are being sown, and this book is definitely an example of it, sir. This has been by the courtesy of one of our supporters, Ritesh Raul Foundation, a young entrepreneur who's here with us today. He has all the way come from Delhi, sorry. To take this forward, I would now request, for the unveiling of the book, I would request Millie, who was already here, but I will call her again. She is the publisher from Penguin. Preeti, who is the marketing head of Penguin, to come onto the stage. Would request Mr. Venu Nair, who is the Chief Commercial Officer of Trent Limited. Under the Trent, they manage Westside, Landmark, and Zudio. Ladies, you know whom to approach for the discounts. And none other than Mr. Anil Dharkar, please on the stage. Mr. Parikshit Sahni, the author of this book, and none other than Shri Amitabh Bachchan ji. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for all the people to unveil the book. I now hand over this first now. Sorry.
Here we are. Are we all here? We can do that ourselves. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. It's lovely to see a full house in spite of the weather. Mr. Bachchan has been on a tour of the city, which he didn't intend to, but he's here. As always, he never lets anyone down. Parikshit, let me start with you. Your father died in 1973. That's 46 years ago.
59. He was 59.
He was 59, but it was 46 years ago that he died. My question is, why did it take you so long to write the book? Why didn't you do it earlier?
So I wouldn't have, even if I tried very hard, had it not been for a couple of people who started kicking me in the shins. One was an editor about 5-6 years ago in Delhi. Then there was a gentleman called Ali Peter John, who's sitting somewhere here. And a friend of mine from LA, a lady called Sayal, Hershey Sayal Gill. They just got onto my neck and caught me and said, "Chadi leke ke likho." And I had no way of getting out, sir. I had to write. But the strange thing is that once I started writing it, when I was given the advice by Ali, "Pehle khopadi mein pakao." So that was a very great revelation. The moment I started thinking about it, a flood of memories came back, and the laptop opened and it all came out in torrents. And the strange thing is that I wrote the first 2 chapters, and then the book wrote itself. I didn't know how not how it happened.
Do you think someone was guiding you?
I had the feeling, sir. I had strangely felt the presence of my father very strongly, and I felt I owed it to him to. I mean, people know him as a fine actor, but there are very few people like brother Amitabh and his dad, who was very close to my father, who knew him more than as just an actor. So I thought it's high time people came to know about the other side of him as a father, as a brother, as a friend, as a husband. So that's what made me. I felt it, I owed it to him, because now I'm getting on in years myself. It's high time I wanted my kids to know about him, because they were born after he passed away.
But tell me, was it an experience that made you sad or happy, or because there are a lot of very touching moments and some very difficult portions in the book, which must have been quite cathartic to write, and were they difficult to write?
Sir, I'd like to recite a poem by Shelley. We look before and after and pine for what is not. And our sincerest laughter with some pain is fraught. And our sweetest dreams are those that sing of saddest thought. So there was an element of elevation at times, and of course, an underlying sadness, which I feel all sons feel when they miss their parents, their fathers. So at certain moments, I became very emotional. And at other moments, I remembered the good moments when we were together in Gulmarg, for instance, where we joked around and fooled around in the Dal Lake, for instance. So there were happy moments, but there were a lot of sad moments. And many chapters, I couldn't help weeping, because, I brought back, I saw him in a light that I'd never seen in him before.
Writing made you see him in that light?
Well, I'm now a lot older than what he was when he died. I'm nearing my 80th year now. So, in those years, I didn't understand him. I was much younger. But now when the memories came back and I looked back and I realized it's very difficult to understand your parents in entirety, you see. And I realized that he was much, much, much greater than I had thought him to be. Many sides of him which were revealed to me. He always said a man and his performance should be like an iceberg. I feel the same way about Amitabh Bachchan Sahab. It should be 1/3 above the water and 3/4 below.
2/3.
2/3 below, sorry. 1/3 above the water, 2/3 below. Because that's what doesn't show. But that's what gives weight and solidity to the iceberg. So I got a glimpse of that 2/3 below the water. And that shook me up.
Wonderful. Amitabh, you've done a really nice forward to the book. Are you going to read it? Oh, lovely. Please, yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Never have the speakers that came before me been as subtle as they were regarding the word late. And I think I counted about 5 times when they mentioned late and kind of gave me a side look and saying, "You're late, buddy." I just want to clarify this. I was told that the function was at the NCPA, and when I was touching Marine Drive, my office tells me, it's actually Taj Lands End, sir. So you can imagine turning around and coming here about 15 minutes late is quite a miracle. Parikshit called one day and said, couldn't you write the foreword to this book that I'm writing on Balraj, and I readily agreed. I thought I'd just read it out because anything else that I say today would not be able to go beyond what I've already expressed. Be like Balraj Sahni. He's in the film industry, yet out of it. So advised my father, soon after my first encounter with the film world on a private visit, seeking a job. Some of my experiences were disturbing. They troubled me and gave me reason to believe that maybe I was making a mistake in my choice. But no, father was right. Balraj was the epitome of my father's vision. When he looked at you with his endearing smile, extending his arms in embrace, and spoke, you felt it was your heart that spoke, not his. It was as though the air around him came from a different world, a world that embodied gentility, the goodness of nature, the resonance of divinity. And as I drive past his home in Juhu, as I often do, I cannot but look at it in despair. Time and desolation have ravaged it and added to it what did not belong to its owner. Diverse conditions are the fatalities of life, and the house symbolizes this reality. But I believe that even though appearances may change, structures may decay, the purity of the heart endures, lives, and breathes. And as Parikshit sets about putting his pen to paper to narrate his father's life, I send my heartfelt best wishes and look upon him with gratitude, for he will narrate what he needs to know about the celebrated and distinguished soul called Balraj Sahni. I profess to be an actor by profession, and some of my work-related observations guide us in our careers. When I saw Balrajdi on the screen, it was not the character he was portraying I saw, but only the purity of his heart. The way he moved, the way he spoke, and the way he expressed himself were unique and straight from the heart. वो जब डायलॉग बोलते थे तो ऐसा लगता था कि यही सही है. Commented a person when I asked him what he thought about Balraj as an actor. There was a refined smoothness about him in all his performances. If I could have, I would have run up to him on the screen, touched his feet, and embraced him. His cultured and literary background was evident, as I perceived during his meetings and reflective moments with my father. He always came across as one who lived life on his own terms, never derogatory about others and their beliefs, yet respectful to his own.
Hello, I would like to express my happiness and joy to be here with Mr. Bachchan and Mrs. Bachchan. I'm Piyu Sarkar, a scriptwriter, actress. I have a question that goes that it's a very meaningful message that's coming with the book, The Non-Conformist. And what is that thing that was always there in yourself, in your spiritual level, in your realism, that you wanted to express from your childhood, and that as an author, you feel that today you have been able to? I guess that is the true spiritual endeavor of all authors. If you can please enlighten us with something like that.
I really didn't get the question, ma'am.
Okay.
Briefly,
Yes.
just tell me what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I can't see you in any case.
Okay, can you see me now?
Yeah.
Yes, hi. My question to you is, like, as an author, like, in your deep senses, all of the authors, they want to express themselves, their spiritual sense, and they feel very content after they do it. So that is one thing I would like to know, that what is it that have you been able to do that in this book all through? And if yes, then what? And if no, then what is the next book you would like to approach?
Well, ma'am, this book was like a redemption. Because, to be very frank, I have this very guilty conscience of not being a very good son. And as I grew older, I realized what a great dad he was.
True.
And I had to get it off my chest. That's the general idea when one writes. It's a kind of a catharsis.
Mm-hmm. Catharsis, exactly.
That's kind of a catharsis. It's a kind of a redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And it was to find peace within my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this thing I read about Shivaji is not fiction, it's a fact.
It's a fact, true.
It shows what sort of a guy I was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, getting a paunch and hogging away to glory when I was playing that role, compared to him. So this is a kind of a redemption for me.
Depths, yes.
Come to peace with myself.
Yes, exactly. And that's really inspiring for me.
That's one question. Now we
Yes.
go to the next one. Yes.
I actually disagree with what Parikshit just said, because it goes contrary to what I said earlier on. मेरे बेटे होने से मेरे उत्तराधिकारी नहीं होंगे.
Kind of you, brother.
जो मेरे उत्तराधिकारी होंगे.
Very kind of
मेरे
you,
बेटे
but
होंगे.
I have.
आपने ये किताब लिख करके पूरा कर दिया उनका काम, और आपने सही मानों में एक बेटे की तरह, because there are many things we would never have known, and that's why I feel that you are a true son of your father.
So Amitabh, can we expect a book from you?
No, I would do a great injustice to the writing profession if I wrote one.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, brother, we should keep deferring with each other.
I read his blogs every day, and I suggest that all of you do that. He writes them after midnight, sometimes at 1 o'clock, sometimes at 2 o'clock, but they're all, each one of the blogs I read is like a piece of literature.
No, I can't even say that he's drunk because he's left drinking, but this is not correct, and please don't go there, for Christ's sake.
Okay, I'll add my 2 bits. Amitabh very kindly launched a book I'd written, and the speech he gave he spoke for about 45 minutes. It was so brilliant that the editor of the Times of India rang me up and said, can we print the whole speech, which the Times of India did. So your modesty is unbecoming. Okay, since no one is asking a question, I will ask. Oh, okay.
I think
Can someone get a
I'll
mic
go
there?
ahead.
You don't need a mic, you can just
just
scream.
Yeah,
My question is for Mr. Bachchan. Which performance of Mr. Sahni did you like the best and why?
You know, there's such a vast repertoire that it's very difficult to name one. But Do Bigha Zameen, Kabili Wala, Waqt, and an incredible performance in Garam Hawa. I thought that was the absolute ultimate performance that he gave.
Mr. Sahni, my question is for you. Here, the other side, here. So my question to you is, do you have a particular writing style? A lot of authors write in the morning, write at a certain time, on a certain software. Was it like that for you? While the book might be cathartic, but in the process, what was the process like for you as a writer? What was the
Process of writing. No, I think he mentioned it, that it just came to him. Right? He did talk about that. Yeah.
You're talking about the discipline of writing?
Yes.
Well, there are many theories about that. There are some guys who get up first thing in the morning and write for a certain amount. Some guys have these 900 to 1,000 words, but there's no real discipline. Everybody has his own way of doing it. Steinbeck used to start writing at 10 o'clock in the morning. This lady, her name is Julia Cameron, very good writer. Recently read one of her books. She writes all the time. I mean, if she goes to a cafe, she writes. Afternoon, she writes. So I think there's no... I try to feel that I'm a writer by getting up early and writing, but that was play acting, actually. I wrote at all hours when it came to me. And usually when somebody like Ali Peter John or Harshi Syal or our friend Millie used the stick on my back. Likho. That's what I wrote.
How long you took to write this book, sir? For how many months, actually?
I think it took us 1 year. 1 year, okay. To write it and then 1 year to get it out, published.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to say something. My name is, here, sir, Nasir bol raha hu.
Brother.
I don't know how many of you over here know that, good evening, sir, that I am one of the very few fortunate people that my mother also got to act with Balraj Sahni Sahab in Do Biga Zameen. She had played his Rakhi sister, and my father has done about 8 to 10 films with Balraj Sahni Sahab. And it was Balraj Sahni Sahab who took my dad to Nav Ketan Films and said कि वो आदमी है गुरुदत्त, वो director है, उसको पटाओगे तो काम मिलेगा. And that is how, from a bus conductor, he became Johnny Walker. So I am here because of him. And my privilege to work with Parikshit, sir.
Wonderful. So I think that's a very, very nice note on which to end this evening. Thank you, Parikshit, for being here and for writing this really, really wonderful tribute to your father.
Can I just...
And let me also thank Amitabh Bachchan, whose presence has elevated this evening.
Anil, just 1 minute. Can I just narrate a story that we shared together? I mean, it wasn't meant to be shared together, but we did it, if you don't mind.
Please.
When you were talking about what you felt when these hefties came and took you off, and you were, stuck between this, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and you were scared. I'm reminded of, you don't have to write those expressions, because I've seen those expressions on you. Parikshit and me and several others were working in a film called Desh Premi, and it was in a slum area which was erected, and there were many, huge stars, Shami Kapoor, Prem Nath, Shamila Tagore, everyone. And every time the scene would be over, we would all sit under one temporary roof and we used to sit and chat. And, sorry brother, this is confidential. Manmohan Desai was the director of the film, and a few of us, junior assistants, decided that we need to, get brother out of... He was always very sort of serious, sitting around in one corner and hardly communicate with anyone. And we thought that, he's come from Russia, he's learned this method acting, so probably he's into that zone. So we needed to get him out of that. So we devised something, and there was a junior artist who was a fantastic actor. So he started acting drunk on set. And I'll have to enact this a bit. So he would come very close to where this group of actors of us used to be sitting, and he used to come holding on to the table, and he would look at brother. And brother would look at him and say, yeah, fine. Then he would, and look very threateningly at, Parikshit. So Parikshit was getting a little, kya yaar, kaun hai? No, kuch nahi, the poor chap is drunk and all that. So next day again, this guy would come from another part of the set, and from there he's only looking at Parikshit. Now this went on for about a week. By now Parikshit is getting really worried. I said, why are you worrying, brother? He said, no, brother, I was driving home and I was stopping at this signal and this guy was there looking at me. I think something's wrong with him. So then we enacted a whole scenario where we called this guy, said, kya kar raha tu usko? Do teen chapad mare wo. It was all fake. He fell down and brother was a little relieved and all that. And then we said, it's not probably happening. So on the last day, this guy came up and we gave him a little fake knife. And we took out the knife and brother, he said, yeah, look, I said, this has gone too much now. And then brother decided to actually go up to him and whack him before we stopped him and told him that this was all an enactment just to scare you and get you out of your... Yeah, he asked me for my gun.
Well, thank you for that. Unexpected bit of acting.
But that was the expression I had on my face. Is absolutely.
He was scared as hell. I mean, he said, "Kaun hai yaar, ye aadmi dekhta rehta hai mujhe aise." Yaar, pagal hai, isko chhod do. Then next day again, this guy would come exactly in front of Parikshit. So he's going to, get him. And brother was really worried.
I was worried, say, I asked you for a gun, that's why I wouldn't have.
So I can understand your expression when you were being whisked away to this place.
Thank you so much. I think our panelists deserve a huge round of applause. That was a very engaging conversation. Thank you, Mr. Bachchan, Mr. Tharkar, and Parikshit. Congratulations again. Thank you for writing the book. I'd like to quickly thank all our partners for today, from Taj Lanzan to Literature Live, City Book Leaders, and Landmark Stores. We have a book available here. You can buy a copy and get it signed by the author. Thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. Thank you very much.
Just can you make way for him? Come. You gotta take a photograph.
गोवा दे फोटो ले
हो गया भैया
रुक जाओ